Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all you whiskey drinkers, no matter where you are. This is the Mad Mix Cheap Whiskey Review number 43, the Speyside 12-year single malt Highland whiskey. Another one of these strange ones. I mentioned in a video before, there's a liquor store about 10 miles away from me, something like that. And it's a decent-sized liquor store, not huge. But they're all of Scotch. The Scotch is up high, like eye level, and then it goes up even higher. So they have this, like, you know, like one of them staircases on wheels you'd find in a library or something like that, or in a warehouse where you've got to get up high. So in order to get to a lot of their scotches, you've got to go up these stairs. You know, you roll them into a spot, which is it's a tight little aisle. You got to be careful you're not knocking any bottles over while you're wheeling this thing to where you need it. And so I've been crawling up top to the very top shelf, which is almost right at the ceiling of the place, and finding these kind of oddball scotches. This is a $29 bottle. I think it was $29.99, so a $30 bottle falls into the cheap whiskey category. So it's a relatively inexpensive single malt, and it gets the age statement, because a lot of these cheaper single malts I've been finding, they are not giving you the age statement. I had never heard of this distillery before. It's just called the Speyside, and apparently that is the name of the distillery. And it was another one of these. I think I'm finding good prices on these, because I think a lot of these bottles have been up on that top shelf for years and years. The ones that come in containers are covered in dust, some of them. You know, the more popular ones, probably not. And then, of course, I found another, you know, at the same time, I found that Loch Lomond, which I'm pretty sure I haven't reviewed yet. I think I've had a Loch Lomond before, but it had an age statement. And that one was only 23 bucks. It was $22.99. This one was $29.99. So I'm finding kind of these oddball, older whiskeys, I think, that just haven't been selling in the store, and maybe he's priced them down to get rid of them. But this is another one. I buy the bottle, I take it out to my car, I lay it down in the seat. It was sealed. It had a foil, you know, it had a foil top with the pull around, you know, the pull thing to open up the foil top. And I wasn't paying much attention. You know, I took a whiff of it, put it back, laid it down. Actually, even before I took the foil top off, I had laid it down on my seat and noticed that there was like a wet spot on the seat. And I'm like, what the fuck, is this thing leaking? So I took the foil off, and the cork that was in it, I don't even know if it was a real cork, it might have been, was barely in there. Like, you could just pull it and it slid out. There was no suction to it or any kind of, you know, it didn't sound like a good cork. So I think a lot of these bottles are older. The cork didn't break, but when I got home, I found an old bottle of Balvenie or something. I've got a tote full of empty Scotch and liquor bottles that I was going to use to put my own whiskey in, you know, take the labels off of them and use them for my own whiskey eventually when I bottle some of them. So luckily I had an old Balvenie around that the cork fit in this one perfect. I was like, great, or else it'd be leaking all over the bed right now. So I think a lot of these whiskeys that are way up on that top shelf by the ceiling, some of them have been there for a while. They're not necessarily popular name brands. So I think that's probably why I'm getting some of these cheap. So I'm running out of them. I mean, I found this one today. I had not even seen this one before. I had bought a bottle of Loch Lomond previously, that $23 bottle, but I drank it all before I could review it. So I said, I'm going to go back and get another one, because for 23 bucks, it's a single malt. I was like, you can't go wrong. It wasn't horrible. You know what I mean? So usually usually in these price ranges from 20 to 30 bucks, you know, you're only getting blended Scotch whiskeys. You're not getting single malts. But as you can say, this is a Highland single malt, 12-year age statement, and it is 43% alcohol. So it's 86 proof, a little better than 80, you know what I mean? Not too much better, but, you know, gives you a few extra proof points. So with all that nonsense being spoken, let's get the snout right up in it. Oh, you can check out the color too. It doesn't say whether it's artificially colored. I'm thinking it might be, because there's no mention of it being aged, you know, finished or aged in sherry barrels or anything like that. So with that being said, let's get the snout up in it. Oh, the nose is pleasant enough. It's malty. This nose is pretty much all malt. You get maybe a hint of a lighter fruit in the backside, or actually a little bit more than a hint. Yeah, you're getting a little bit of fruit there in it. It's 12 years old, so it should be well-rounded. Yeah, I'm getting malt up front and like a hint of maybe raisins or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, some kind of maybe raisins or a pruny plum type. Not super deep, not super complex, but there's something there. It's beyond sweetness. You know what I mean? It smells sweet. And maybe you're getting a tad of honey or something like that. Maybe a little bit, some of vanilla, something sweet like that. But there's hints of fruit, mostly malt. When you get your nose up there, it's like the malt is in the foreground on this one. So let's find out what the palate's got to offer. Get one down, people. Cheers. Now there's a lot more vanilla on the palate. The first thing I'm getting off the palate is the vanilla. I'm not getting a ton of malt right off the rip. You're getting a good pepper spice on the back end. But you're always going to get that with these scotches aged in bourbon barrels. You're always going to get that spice. Pretty strong spice too. Good spicy flavor. But yeah, the nose is like malt followed by light fruit and sweetness, either vanilla or honey or something like that. And one more on the palate. We'll wrap this up. Yeah, it's like almost all vanilla and sweetness on the palate. It's not as smooth as I would expect a 12-year-old to be. It's got a little bit of bite to it. Not harsh. That could be the pepper spice in the back end. Like it definitely leaves like that kind of peppery bite in your throat as the aftertaste. But it's sweet enough. It's good enough. I mean, it's not unsmooth, but it's certainly not the smoothest 12-year single malt I've ever had. You can get some fantastic 12-year single malts for a lot more money. So, all right, let's wrap it up. The Mad Mix Cheap Whiskey Review, number 43, the Speyside 12-year Highland Single Malt. I'll give it an 8. I don't think it's fantastic. You know what I mean? In fact, you know, for the 30 bucks, it's not a horrible price, but I think I'd rather kick in either a few more bucks and get a better single malt, you know, like a Glenmorangie or some of them other single malts that I've had lately that were reasonably priced, or I'd rather spend less and get, you know, even a Dewar's, you know what I mean? Like for cheap, Dewar's is not bad. In fact, the other day I bought for the 4th of July, I bought a Dewar's 15 year again, which I think is only about 36 bucks here. So, you know, spending 30 on this, I think I'd rather spend the extra 6 bucks and get the Dewar's 15. The Dewar's 15 is a very good single malt for its price range. So do I think this is bad? No. Do I think it's great? No. Is it worth 30 bucks? Well, probably, if you want to give it a shot. I mean, I'm going to sit down and have a couple drams of it and, you know, pick it apart a little more and see if I like it. It's not blowing me away, but it's not disgusting. So, you know, with that being said, make of it what you will. It's just one of these kind of average, lower price single malts. It's not spectacular, but it's not horrible. Would I buy it again? Probably not. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm happy to have the bottle, and you know, you guys know me, I never buy the same bottle twice. So I'm happy to try something different, to have a different bottle. And I've got a couple more in the pipeline. I'll get done soon enough. But $30 for a 12-year-old single malt, Highland single malt, not a bad price. I don't know what's going on in the corks with that store, but I think it's got to be these bottles are just old and nobody's bought them, and maybe he's priced them down a little and the corks are starting to dry up in them, or they're not fitting the bottles like they used to. I mean, at least it didn't break off like the other two I got. So it had that going for it. But with that being said, you guys, you know, love and respect yourself. Always hope all you guys had a happy 4th. I had a great time. I killed some serious fucking brain cells over the 4th weekend. Watched some good fireworks. Had some good food. Went cold hogging, made stuffies, and made clams casino, and made nice chowder. We had a nice cookout, good time, jammed out with my buddy, and enjoyed a nice bottle of Dewar's 15. So I hope you guys had as good of a 4th as I did. I had a wonderful 4th. And, you know, take care of yourself. Always love and respect yourself. Love your family and friends. And love cheap whiskey. This one, kind of middle of the road. It is what it is. Later, people. I'll see you in the next one.